ממעמקים קראתי אלייך, בואי אליי בשובך יחזור שוב האור בעיניי, לא גמור לא עוזב המגע בידייך, שיבוא ויעיר למשמע כל צחוקך. ממעמקים קראתי אלייך, בואי אליי מול ירח מאיר דרכך שוב אליי, נפרסו ונמסו מול מגע של ידייך, באוזנייך לוחש שואל מי זה קורא לך הלילה, הקשיבי.
Shabbat Shalom. What a is anybody here visiting from back east? Oh, you're already a smart lifter already. I just wanted the glory and the beauty of this Shabbat morning. I know elsewhere in this country they are shivering. We're shivering too because for us this is a chilly morning. But it's a beautiful morning of light and celebration because we gather here today on this Shabbat of Hanukkah, which is of course our festival of light, to celebrate Shabbat and to welcome Norah as a bat mitzvah, as a young adult Jewish woman. This is a reason to celebrate, to rejoice and be glad. And so we join in an opening song, Ma Tovu Ohalecha, a song that celebrates the two most important locations of the Jewish people, wherever we live. And they're the two places that lead us to moments like this of welcoming a daughter of our people into adulthood, the home and the synagogue. Ma Tovu Ohalecha Yaakov Habud are the places where the Jewish people gather, their tents. This being one of them, the home being the other. Page 74. Favorite saying of our rabbis was Da lifnei mi ata omed, know before whom you stand. When we stand in prayer, of course, we stand before God. In order to stand before God, our tradition recognizes we need a healthy body, we need a healthy mind, and a healthy soul. And so those are the themes of our opening prayers as our service begins. So on page 76, we pray for health together. Praise to you, Adonai our God, sovereign of the universe, who formed the human body with skill, creating the body's many pathways and openings. It is well known before your throne of glory that if one of them be wrongly opened or closed, it would be impossible to endure and stand before you. Blessed are you, Adonai, who heals all flesh, working wondrously. Baruch atah Adonai, rofei kol basar u'mafli la'asot. And now we make a prayer for our souls on page 78. every week in our synagogues on Shabbat, we have a built-in theme for our service from our Torah portion, the scriptural reading that we share on Shabbat mornings. And so, as Norah is very well aware, we are deep into our Joseph stories, the stories about Joseph. Even if you're not familiar with scriptures, many of you may know about that famous, was it a play and a movie, Joseph and the multicolored coat, or multi-technicolored, something like that. We're familiar with it. What's interesting is the way in which we see Joseph develop in these stories. How he grows from a young, rather arrogant, brash guy, and through the twists and turns of his life, he becomes humble and modest, and devoted to the values and ideas that have been passed to him through his family, and he becomes really the preserver of the Jewish people, the link between the family that we read about in Genesis and the nation that grows, that family grows into in the book of Exodus. So he is that critical character, and he shows what Judaism wants most from us as we go through life, and that is the development of good character. So we're here to surround Norah with the people that are most important to her family and friends and her community, her congregation, to encourage her to go on a journey through life much as Joseph did, learning through his experiences what is necessary for him, what God wants from him, what his potential is in this world. And we symbolize that hope and dream for her as she journeys through life in our opening ritual of her parents presenting her with her talit. The talit is like a shawl, so the shawls are kind of warm. So she has this warm hug around her. It represents a hug, an embrace from all the generations before her. But it also is a ritual symbol to remind her that life is a journey and that her goal is to find her path and what she can grow and develop into with the character and the qualities and potential that God has gifted her with. And so, as she begins to give us a glimpse into that soul of hers, we are delighted to call up her parents, Jennifer and Rich, to present her with her talit.
When we selected this date for your bat mitzvah, Norah, nearly 3 years ago, you were not pleased, and you have not let us forget it any day since. But this is a very meaningful day for our family to celebrate you and your commitment to Judaism. You are our Hanukkah baby, which is so appropriate because you've been lighting up the world every day since. We are so thrilled to be here at Temple today with our friends and family because of you on this 6th day of Hanukkah. Today is also your actual 13th birthday, so happy birthday. And not only is today Hanukkah and your birthday, but December 8th is also the date of my bat mitzvah in 1984. Now I'll let you do the math. Back in 1984, I had no idea, obviously, that you would be part of my future. But your dad and I certainly are glad that you are you. You made our family whole. Being Jewish has been such an important part of my being and such a critical component of our family. From singing the 4 questions while standing on chairs, to building our backyard sukkah out of PVC pipe every year, to sending you and your brother to Camp Mountain High each summer, watching you become a young Jewish adult on this date is extra meaningful for us all.
Norah, we we've enjoyed watching you grow into a very driven and confident young woman. Your determination and grit will take you far in life. When you set your mind on completing a task, you will not let anything get in your way of completing it. You show this determination in many phases of your life. School, your commitment to studying for your bat mitzvah, and playing sports. If anyone's ever been in the car with Norah on the way to a soccer game, when we might only arrive 59 minutes early instead of the allotted hour, you've seen this determination. And I can see from some of your teammates in the crowd, they know what I'm talking about. While you have great drive, you also have great heart. You're a very kind person and willing to go out of your way to help other people. From the classroom to the cousins, we see your leadership and willingness to help others. Your teachers all rave about the way you help in the classroom. One teacher told us that when other students came to her for help, she would say, "Just do what Norah's doing." With your friends, cousins, and even occasionally your brother, you go out of your way to help people and seem to enjoy doing it, both of which make us very proud of you.
Norah, you come from strong women on both sides of our family. As you know, you were named after 3 remarkable women, Dad's sister, Karen, and Buddy's sisters, Eva and Pearl. In addition, we lost 2 strong women in our family this week on both sides of the family, Jean Salzman and Mary Ann Ryan. We see the amazing strengths in all 5 of these women in you. Confident, determined, tough but not mean, and selfless. In the spirit of today's service of From Generation to Generation, we look forward to seeing you continue in the tradition of these incomparable women, and we love you.
Baruch atah Adonai Eloheinu melech haolam.
Page 80.
Asher natan lasech bina lachavim ben yom uben laila.
Amen. Baruch atah Adonai Eloheinu melech haolam. Pokeach ivrim.
Amen. Baruch atah Adonai Eloheinu melech haolam. Matir asurim.
Amen. Baruch atah Adonai Eloheinu melech haolam. Zokech kefufim.
Amen. Baruch atah Adonai Eloheinu melech haolam. Rakah haaretz al hamayim.
Amen. Baruch atah Adonai Eloheinu melech haolam. Hamichim tzadek haver.
Amen. Baruch atah Adonai Eloheinu melech haolam. Malbish arumim.
Amen. Baruch atah Adonai Eloheinu melech haolam. Anoten alav koach.
Amen. Baruch atah Adonai Eloheinu melech haolam. Hama'avir sheina ma'ayinai v'tmunan me'afapai.
Amen. Baruch atah Adonai Eloheinu melech haolam. She'asani b'tzalmim.
Amen. Baruch atah Adonai Eloheinu melech haolam. She'asani b'chorim.
Amen. Baruch atah Adonai Eloheinu melech haolam. She'asani Yisrael.
Amen. Baruch atah Adonai Eloheinu melech haolam. Yotzei Yisrael b'gvura.
Amen. Baruch atah Adonai Eloheinu melech haolam. Oter Yisrael b'tifara.
Amen. Baruch
Atah Adonai Eloheinu melech haolam. Asher kitshanu b'mitzvotav v'tzivanu la'asok b'divrei Torah.
O Adonai, our God, let the words of Torah be sweet in our mouths, and the mouths of your people Israel, so that we, our descendants, and the descendants of all your people Israel, may know you by studying your Torah for its own sake. Blessed are you, Adonai, who teaches Torah to your people Israel.
Baruch atah Adonai, hamlamei Torah la'amo Yisrael.
We join together on page 88. These are the things that are limitless, of which a person enjoys the fruit of the world, while the principle remains in the world to come. They are honoring one's father and mother, engaging in deeds of compassion, arriving early for study morning and evening, dealing graciously with guests and visiting the sick, providing for the wedding couple, accompanying the dead for burial, being devoted in prayer, and making peace among people. But the study of Torah encompasses them all. There are 8 degrees in the giving of tzedakah, each one higher than the one before. To give grudgingly, reluctantly, or with regret. To give less than one should, but with grace. To give what one should, but only after being asked. To give before one is asked. To give without knowing who will receive it, although the recipient knows the identity of the giver. To give without making known one's identity. To give so that neither the giver nor the receiver knows the identity of the other. To help another become self-supporting by means of a gift, a loan, or by finding employment for one in need. Please turn to page 95. With this, I do prepare myself to thank, praise, and glorify my Creator. Blessed are you, Sovereign of the universe, whom we praise with songs of glory. Baruch atah Adonai, melech haolam v'tishbachot. We join together singing Psalm 150 on page 100. 111. In the beginning, even then, a new light was sown for the righteous, a promise that your light would become the catalyst, first for order and then for hope. Author of language and light, help us to use words as you have, to cast light into dark waters and draw out justice and truth. Baruch atah Adonai, Yotzer HaMeorot. Please turn to page 113. Love your neighbor as yourself, you said, and light blinded we saw, that inner and outer worlds were only as you are one. You spoke and we wrote. We reached for you down the centuries, your light moving before us. As we climbed, fell back, and climbed again. Your Sinai of life.
Baruch atah Adonai, habocher be'amo Yisrael be'ahava. Shema Yisrael, Adonai Eloheinu, Adonai Echad. Shema Yisrael, Adonai Eloheinu, Adonai Echad. Shema
Please be seated. Please turn to page 116. Ve'ahavta et Adonai Elohecha b'chol levavecha u'b'chol nafshecha u'b'chol me'odecha v'hayu advarim ha'ela asher amoti mitzavecha Hayom ha'levavecha v'shinamtam levanecha v'dibarta b'am v'shitecha b'beitecha u'b'leitecha b'derech u'b'shofbecha u'b'kunecha u'b'shartam leot al-yadecha v'hayu letotachot בעיניך וכתבתם על מזוזות ביתך ובשעריך למען תזכרו ועשיתם את כל מצוותיי וייתן קדושים לאלוהיכם. אני אדוני אלוהיכם אשר הוצאתי אתכם מארץ מצרים להיות לכם לאלוהים. אני אדוני אלוהיכם. We pray responsively on page 121. The eternal truth is that you alone are God, and there is none else.
May the righteous of all nations rejoice in your love and exult in your justice.
Let them beat their swords into plowshares and their spears into pruning hooks.
Let nation not lift up sword against nation, nor learn war anymore.
You shall not hate your brother or your sister in your heart.
The stranger that sojourns with you shall be accepted as your equal, for you were strangers in the land of Egypt.
Why do you crush my people and oppress the poor? Asked God.
We know that the Eternal One defends the poor and upholds the rights of the needy.
Praise to God Most High.
Blessed is God and deserving of blessing.
We join together at the top of page 132. Please turn to page 135. We offer thanks, O God, for this Shabbat, which unites us in faith and hope, for Shabbat holiness, which inspires sacred living, for Shabbat memories glowing even in darkness, for Shabbat peace born of friendship and love. We offer thanks and blessing, O God.
Baruch atah Adonai, Mikadesh HaShabbat.
We read responsively on page 137. On this holy Shabbat, may we draw near to life, to peace, and to joy.
May we find true rest, holiness in our deeds, worth in our study of Torah.
Let us feed off love of goodness. Let us drink from love of goodness. Restrain thirst for excess and cleanse our hearts to serve life well.
On this holy Shabbat, may we draw near in life, in peace, and in joy. Baruch atah Adonai, she'otcha levadcha b'yirah na'avod.
On page 138, we join together. We
Acknowledge with thanks that you are Adonai, our God, and the God of our ancestors forever. You are the rock of our lives and the shield of our salvation in every generation. Let us thank you and praise you for our lives which are in your hand, for our souls which are in your care, for your miracles that we experience every day, and for your wondrous deeds and favors at every time of day, evening, morning, and noon. O good one, whose mercies never end, O compassionate one, whose kindness never fails, we forever put our hope in you. For all these things, O sovereign, let your name be forever praised and blessed. O God, our Redeemer and Helper, let all who live affirm you and praise your name in truth. Blessed are you, Adonai. Your name is goodness, and you are worthy of thanksgiving. Baruch atah Adonai, atov shemcha l'chananeh l'hadot.
I'd like to invite my Beth Israel friends to lead us in our prayer for peace. Sim Shalom on page 140.
Shalom,
Please take a moment for silent prayer.
This being Hanukkah, our rabbis inserted a special prayer of thanksgiving into our liturgy for this morning. And it's a way of acknowledging really the miracle of Jewish survival and the way in which our rabbis sort of stood in awe of the way in which we seem to always bounce back after the hard knocks that were thrown our way. And so they would have us thank God that we made it. And so as a Thanksgiving prayer, we say, we thank you, O God, for the miracles, for the redemption, for the mighty deeds and saving acts brought about by you, and for the battles which you waged for our ancestors in the days of old at this season. So we are grateful that not only is there a God who has sustained us, but Iburim and Iburot, strong men and women who throughout the ages have seen the blessing of being Jewish and devoted their lives, despite whatever circumstances were thrown their way, in order to keep Judaism and Jewish traditions and to pass them from generations to generations. And that's why we're here today, because our families have seen the value in the way in which Judaism shapes and molds character, and the type of people that we therefore raise and turn out into the world in an attempt to, as they attempt through their journey of life to make the world a better, a gentler, a kinder place in which to live. And in our Torah portion, we read about Joseph, who is known as a great dreamer and one of the great dreamers of the Jewish people, and we have produced many throughout our history. But sort of a trait of our people, I think, is to dream about what the world can be, what it ought to be, and to be stubborn about accepting it the way it is and moving forward to bring about a better, gentler, kinder world. And so we hope today that when we pass the Torah through the generations of Norah's family, which we'll do in a moment, that she'll take that Torah not only into her arm, but right into her heart, and that it will be an inspiration for her to dream great dreams for herself and for the world around her, and what she can become and what the world can become because she is in it. And so in the spirit of this anticipation and joy, we invite you to turn to page 244 as we prepare to pass the Torah from generation to generation into Norah's arms.
Oh
we are, this Torah, by the way, has the 5 books of Moses if you're a newcomer into the synagogue. And in our Shabbat morning services, we read from the Torah. We read sequentially through the year. So that means that practically wherever Jews are gathered for Shabbat morning, they're reading from the same general area, the portion that we are reading from today. We are deep, as I said, into our Joseph stories, as this great mystery of Joseph's life, which has led him down into Egypt, and through circumstances that Hollywood could hardly imagine. He has risen from a jail to become the second in command of the most powerful country in the time, Egypt, second only to Pharaoh himself. And this whole crazy story about the brothers and the family reconciling and coming back together. We're going to hear more about the portion from Norah later, as she teaches us. But for now, we'll read from the Torah. Mostly Norah will. And when we read, we call up aliyot, they are witnesses, to witness the reading. It's the highest honor that we have to hand out in the synagogue. And so for Rishon, our first aliyah, it's my pleasure to call up Lois and Sam Jacobs, Steve Lehman, Donna Rubenstein, and Scott Rubenstein.
יעמדו לי בחי בת שר מלכה ושבתאי בן ברצל ודנה פיגל בת נחום טוביה ושינה ויצחק בן דנה פיגל גרון ואברהם שבח בן יוסף ושרה הראשון.
Phyllis Lehman and Marshall Lehman.
יעמדו פרמיה בת נחום טוביה ושנה ומאיר אליין בן יוסף ושרה השני.
Baruch et Adonai Hamorah.
Baruch Adonai Hamorah Le'olam Amen.
Baruch atah Adonai Elohim. Baruch Adonai.
Baruch Adonai Hamorah Le'olam Amen.
Baruch atah Adonai Eloheinu melech haolam asher bacharanu mikol ha'amim v'natan lanu et torto. Baruch atah Adonai noten ha'torah.
Amen.
Amen. Vayar Yosef et Echav vayakirem v'yitnaker lehem v'yidaber itom kashot vayomer lehem meraglim batem vayomeru me'eretz Canaan lishbar ochel vayaker Yosef et Echav
Torah emet v'chayei olam nata b'chatenu baruch atah Adonai noten haTorah.
Amen.
And now for Shlishi, our third Aliyah, we call Stephanie Lehman and Isabella Lehman.
Tamona B'chalayael v'Nezrachel bat Chalayael v'Chaim Hashlishi.
Baruch et Adonai HaBorach.
Baruch Adonai HaBorach le'olam va'ed.
Baruch Adonai HaBorach le'olam va'ed. Baruch atah Adonai Eloheinu melech haolam asher bahar banu mikol ha'amim v'natan lanu et Torato. Baruch atah Adonai notei haTorah.
Amen.
Amen. Vayomeru elav lo Adoni bavadecha ba'u lishbor ochel kulanu b'nei ish echad nachnu kenim anachnu lo hayu v'decha meraglim vayomer alehem lo ki erat ha'aretz vatem lirot.
Baruch atah Adonai Eloheinu melech haolam asher natan lanu Torah emet v'chayei olam nata b'tochenu. Baruch atah Adonai noten haTorah.
Amen.
And now for Rivi, our fourth Aliyah, we call up Rich, Jennifer, and David, the immediate family.
Yamdu Daniel Kalev ben Avram Sarah v'Yosefa bat Meir Lian Piyamia v'David ben Daniel Kalev v'Yosefa Harvi'i.
Baruch et Adonai HaBorach.
Baruch Adonai HaBorach le'olam va'ed.
Baruch Adonai HaBorach le'olam va'ed. Baruch atah Adonai Eloheinu melech haolam asher bahar banu mikol ha'amim v'natan lanu et Torato. Baruch atah Adonai noten haTorah.
Amen.
Amen. Vayomeru shnei masar avadecha achim anachnu b'nei ish echad b'deret Kenan v'hinei hakaton et avinu hayom v'chai echad einenu v'yeso otam. Vayomer alehem Yosef hu asher dibarti alehem lemor meraglim atem bezot tibachenu chay baro im tesu mizeh ki im bero achichem hakaton
Baruch atah Adonai Eloheinu melech haolam asher natan lanu Torah emet v'chayei olam nata b'tochenu. Baruch atah Adonai noten haTorah.
Amen.
And now, Norah, we call you to the Torah as a bat mitzvah.
Riva Panina Batania Kalev v'Yosefa Bachora bat Mitzvah.
Baruch Adonai HaBorach.
Baruch Adonai HaBorach le'olam va'ed.
Baruch Adonai HaBorach le'olam va'ed. Baruch atah Adonai Eloheinu melech haolam asher bahar banu mikol ha'amim v'natan lanu et Torato. Baruch atah Adonai noten haTorah.
Amen.
ובהנו דבריהם האמת איתם, ואם לא חי פרעה כי מרגלים אתם. ויוסף אותם אל משמר 3 ימים, ויאמר להם יוסף ביום השלישי, זאת עשו בדיוק את האלוהים אני ירא. ברוך אתה אדוני אלוהינו מלך העולם, אשר נתן לנו תורה אמת וחיי עולם נתן בתוכנו. ברוך אתה אדוני נותן התורה.
Amen. What a beautiful, sweet moment this is. We've got the perfect prayer for it. A simple prayer of Shechianu. We thank God we're alive. We're here celebrating this moment.
Baruch atah Adonai Eloheinu melech haolam shehechianu v'kiyanu v'hiyanu lazman hazeh.
So now we're going to see how David has developed since his bar mitzvah a couple years ago. Because now he has the awesome responsibility of uplifting the Torah. And let me tell you, with this Torah, that's quite a feat. And to help him with the Torah, to dress it, we call it Ian.
Yamdu hamagdir hagolel.
Please rise. So whenever we read from the Torah, we read a selection also from our prophetic literature, and that's called the Haftarah. In our Torah portion, Pharaoh has these dreams that Joseph interprets, and in the Haftarah from the book of Kings, Solomon has dreams. Joseph credits God with the ability to interpret dreams. In the Haftarah, Solomon's wisdom, which he asked for when God says he can have anything, he says he asked for some wisdom, and that is also understood to have been a gift from God. So Norah is going to chant some of the Haftarah. I take this back. This is the special Hanukkah Haftarah, and the Haftarah is from the prophet Zechariah. It reflects, by the way, just a little tidbit to think about, it reflects, actually, the rabbis were not so thrilled with Hanukkah. I don't know if the word, when I said the prayer earlier about thanking God for war, that might have jarred some of your ears. We can talk about that later, but the point is that the Maccabees rose up in rebellion, and the rabbis were concerned about Jews rising up in rebellion. So they were a little bit concerned about them getting too much into the idea of power and exerting that kind of military power, because during the rabbinic period, that was dangerous for Jews. And so, on this holiday where we're celebrating the Maccabees rising up, the rabbis give us a Haftarah from Zechariah which says, don't go there. Not by might, not by power. That's not how we get things done in this world. It's by God's Spirit. Whether or not war is a necessity is something that we can debate. Certainly we all can look forward to the time when people do not turn to the machinery and weaponry of war in order to solve their problems. And that's what our Haftarah is about.
Baruch atah Adonai Eloheinu melech haolam asher bahar b'nvi'im tovim v'ratzah v'divrei hanemarim be'emet. Baruch atah Adonai haboher b'torah u'Moshe avdo u'Yisrael amo u'b'nvi'ei ha'emet Tzedek Ba'amar El Hamalach Hadover Bi Lemor Ma'ele Adoni Bayan Hamalach Hadover Bi Bayomer Elai Halo Yadata Mahe Ma'ele Bayomar Lo Adoni Bayan
We're going to return the Torah to the Ark now, so to open the Ark, we invite Kate Lutz and Colleen Lutz. And as they make their way to our pulpit, will you please rise?
It's my evening, Mama has taken me to
My Torah portion follows Joseph during his journey in Egypt. Here's a brief summary. In the beginning of my Torah portion, Joseph deciphered Pharaoh's dreams. Joseph understood these dreams and translated that they meant 7 years of famine and 7 years of plentiful food. Deciphering these dreams gave Joseph lots of power in the land of Egypt. Joseph was treated with the highest respect when Pharaoh made him the royal steward. Joseph had people buying provisions from him and was given everything he needed. Joseph had sure come a long way since being sold to Egypt as a slave and thrown into a dungeon. Later in my parsha, Jacob sent all his sons, except Benjamin, to Egypt to buy food. Benjamin was Joseph's only full brother. Jacob was fearful for anything horrible to happen to his remaining most beloved son, as Joseph was Jacob's favorite. Kind of like how I'm mom and dad's favorite, right, David? This part of my parsha is ironic, because the brothers who threw Joseph into a pit are now in front of him begging for food and kindness, without knowing they are pleading to their brother who they sold into slavery. Joseph treats his brothers just like they treated him, harshly. Joseph spoke to his brothers roughly and without compassion. Joseph claims his brothers are spies and demands they bring his full brother Benjamin to Egypt. Then, the other brothers were placed under guard for 3 days. On the 3rd day, Joseph told his brothers to take food back to their families to relieve the starvation. Joseph then again demanded that they return with their youngest brother, and that Simon had to stay in confinement with Joseph until they returned. On the brothers' way back home, the silver they had brought to buy food was returned courtesy of Joseph. When the brothers arrived home, they told Jacob that the royal steward ordered them to bring Benjamin back to Egypt. Jacob absolutely refused. He was not willing to risk his beloved son. When Jacob's sons told their father they would not be allowed back into Egypt to buy food without Benjamin, Jacob finally relents and agrees that Benjamin can return with them. When the brothers return with Benjamin, Joseph invites them to eat with him. Joseph gave the most amount of food to Benjamin, showing his care and love towards Benjamin. After the meal, Joseph instructed his servants to place the goblet he drank out of in the youngest brother's bag. As the brothers left to return home, Joseph commanded his servants to chase after the brothers and bring them back to him. Joseph set up a plan to keep Benjamin with him instead of having Benjamin go back with his brothers. When the brothers returned to Joseph, he ordered them to open their bags and check them from oldest to youngest. Joseph checked Benjamin's bag last, only to find the goblet he placed in Benjamin's bag. Joseph has the excuse to keep Benjamin and not let him go back to Canaan. Joseph sent the rest of their brothers back to their home. While there are many interesting themes in my Torah portion, I decided to discuss trust. Trust is demonstrated many times in my Torah portion. The first time trust was shown was by Pharaoh. Pharaoh trusted Joseph with interpreting his dreams. Joseph could have been wrong and cost Pharaoh everything. The notion of trust appears again when Jacob trusts his sons will bring back food for the entire family, who are hungry and in severe need of nourishment. Jacob put multiple lives in the hands of his sons. The brothers trusted Joseph, who they thought was a stranger, to keep Simon safe while they retrieved Benjamin from Canaan. At the same time, Joseph had to trust his brothers, who treated him so terribly, to bring Benjamin and not just ditch him. When the brothers told their father that they must take Benjamin back to Egypt, Jacob has to trust nothing bad will happen to Benjamin. As part of my preparation and study for my bat mitzvah, I chose a Mitzvah project to help an organization called Build a Miracle. Last spring, our family, along with many other Scripture Ranch families, raised money and traveled to Tijuana to help build brand new homes for 2 families. Build a Miracle is an amazing organization. The families who participate receive new homes with running water, electricity, and beds for each family member. However, they are required to commit volunteer hours to help build homes for other families, as well as commit that their children will stay in school. I could not believe what I saw when I went to Tijuana. I saw the old home of one of the families we helped. They had no running water, no electricity, and no indoor plumbing. The entire family slept in one bed. The size of their entire home was barely bigger than my bedroom. I could not stop thinking how they did their everyday activities in those conditions. We worked hard that day. We mixed and poured concrete, painted and moved new beds, furniture, appliances, and home goods into their new home. It was back-breaking work, but one of the most rewarding days I've ever had. When they saw their new home for the first time, they were overcome with emotion. The father spoke and said he was in total disbelief that a group of complete strangers would do this act of kindness for his family. They were so hard to try and get ahead, but with the conditions in which they lived, there was no way for his family to better their lives. Every day was just a struggle to survive. The dad was overcome that a group of strangers trusted his family could create a better life, and that all they needed was a little support so they could do more for their children than just survive. Thank you to the Fraser family for introducing my family and entrusting us with the opportunity to help people who really need it. My family is going back this spring to help build another home. And as part of my Mitzvah project, I will bring blankets, clothes, and books to help another family see that the world trusts they can create a better life for their family. We could all stand for trusting each other more, no matter the color of your skin, your religion, or where you were born. We should all understand that we want the same things: peace, prosperity, and spending meaningful time with family and friends. Participating in Build a Miracle did just that. It brought people of all backgrounds together to help others. We should all trust in one another and do more of that, rather than creating false barriers between us. We are all citizens of the same world, facing the same challenges and wanting the same things. We should trust that we will all help each other. The theme of trust appears again, the theme of trust also predominates my Torah portion, between siblings. This got me thinking about how much I trust my brother. And while I only have one brother, and Joseph had 11, I have cousins and many friends who I consider siblings. David has never thrown me into a pit and sold me to slavery, although I'm sure there's many times he's wanted to. Sometimes trust can be misplaced, like the time when I was 6 and my dad took me down a double black diamond ski run. Fortunately, we all survived. You can ask my dad for the details. But the trust can always be found. I'm lucky enough to have my brother, cousins, and friends to rely on. They're always there for me, whenever I need help with school projects or just someone to talk to. I'm inspired by people around me who I can trust every day, which encourages me to spread the trust to others. Thank you to Rabbi Burke, Rabbi Cantor Bernstein, and Rabbi Gimble for their teaching and guidance in reaching this very important milestone in my Jewish life. It's just a stepping stone, not the end. I'm excited for more and more Jewish teaching and learning. Thank you to Norah, Cheryl, and all of my teachers at Congregation Beth Israel. Thank you to the Lehmans and Spitzbergs for the countless rides to and from Hebrew school, and for always making the car time fun. Thank you to my friends and family, those who did not have to travel very far, but still made coming here today a priority, and those who have traveled from Colorado, Arizona, Minnesota, Oregon, and Wisconsin. It really means a lot to me to have your love and support today. Finally, while I've already talked way too much about my brother, I do want to thank him for being the best big brother and role model. I haven't mentioned my parents yet, and I probably should. I don't thank them nearly enough. They do everything to create the best possible childhood for David and me. They work hard, care about the world, and have created so many Jewish traditions and memories. They demonstrate their actions on how to navigate life with a whole lot of love, humor, and grace. I love you both very, very much. Thank you all for being here today and for the trust you place in me in becoming a young Jewish adult in our world, and with all the responsibilities and joys that come with that privilege. You have all had a part in my journey to reach this day. I want to leave you with one final thought. It's better to trust other people than rather live in a silo and only trust yourself. Shabbat Shalom.
Shabbat Shalom.
you, but for being here in our community. You make our lives a better place by your presence, and we're grateful. I have the privilege of giving you a couple of things. One is your Tudat Bat Mitzvah, your certificate of Bat Mitzvah, and it says that this is you, Riva Panina Bat Daniel Kalev Yosefa. We are known by our Jewish names and by the names of the people who gave us life, by our parents. So I think that is a beautiful way to enter as an adult in our community, and I really believe that you, having accepted all of the privileges and responsibilities, are not only just a young adult and grown into that, but that you'll become a great ambassador for the Jewish people. And also I want to thank you. We ask our students to do 18 mitzvot, 18 commandments, literally, that are filled with study, community worship, and acts of loving kindness, and you fulfilled all of those. So we are so grateful. It says that the world is sustained by three things: Torah, worship, and acts of loving kindness. And I hope that this will not only be the second house that you build, but there will be many more after that, and giving people life. Mazel tov.
Well, Norah, what a joy and a pleasure it is to stand here with you. I know that your name is pronounced Norah. If it were the Jewish version of that, and I suspect that it has different roots, it would be Norah. At least that's how I would pronounce it. And Norah means, wait for it, awesome. Was this awesome? It really was. You brought such joy and, in the spirit of the season, such light into all of our lives, because we see there's a future. There's a future ahead for the world, for our people, and we see wonderful young adults like yourself who don't just look forward to, the privileges and joys of growing up and being independent and able to do your own thing and all of that, but realize that growing up and becoming an adult means becoming a responsible, good person. We're not just here to see how much fun we can have. We're really here to see what kind of character we have, what kind of good we can do in this world. And so, in a way, I want to point out a job description for you as a human being, as your people understand it, and in keeping with this theme of Hanukkah and Hanukkah light. And so I'll do that by drawing attention to what we have above our heart, the verse from Scriptures which says that the Ner Adonai Nishmat Adam, that the light of God is the soul of the human being. And so it's really another way of saying what I said at the beginning during services last night, that the real miracle of Hanukkah is that we're here. The real miracle is that you're here. And the point is that your purpose is to be a light, to bring light to the world. That verse which I just cited says that you're God's light. We're God's lamplighters. We go out into the world and bring God's light. What does that mean? Light of goodness. What happens when a place is dark? We become concerned, we can be worried. If we're younger, we can become scared just of the dark. And when we light light, it takes away the fear and the anxiety. It brings goodness. And that's the purpose of being a human being, is to represent God that way by going out in the world and bringing goodness and decency and kindness and gentleness into the world. Another way of saying that is to bring light into an otherwise dark world. And you've given us a glimpse into your soul and the kind of light that you will bring to the world with the journey that you take from this day forward. And so we want to send you off on that journey with lots of love and blessings. So right now, Rabbi Gerstein and I have the privilege of bringing upon you the oldest blessing of the Jewish people, Birkat Kohanim, the blessing with which our leaders have blessed us throughout history. And so as we go to the ark, we invite the congregation to rise. may God bless you and protect you. May God always be kind to you and gracious to you. Wherever you go in life, may you always feel God's presence beside you. And may God grant you peace. Amen. We'll begin the concluding part of our service. When we are done, Norah and her family will escort us, lead us out into the foyer. We'll have an opportunity to get some wine or juice. Challenge. See if you can remember the words that are about to come out of my mouth. Don't drink the wine or the juice until we've gathered together and had an opportunity to thank God for the blessing of that juice and wine and all that it stands for and all the good things that we are privileged to enjoy in this world. And then we'll say the motzi and have a good time after that. So the concluding part of our service begins with the Aleinu on page 282 at the bottom of the page. From there we go to page 287. Those who died at this season in years past, and those whom we have drawn into our hearts with our own, Zichronam Livracha, may their memories be for blessing. We join now in the ancient and hallowed words of Kaddish. Yitkadal v'yitkadash shemei Rabbah, v'alma tivarach v'yutei v'yamlik malchutei, v'chayechon v'yomechon v'chayei t'chol b'Yisrael, v'agalah v'zman karev v'imru amen. Yehei shmei Rabbah v'varach le'olam v'amei hamayah. Yitbarach v'yishtabach v'yitpahar v'yitromam v'yitnaseh. Yitadar v'yithaleh v'yitalal shemei kudusha b'rivu. Le'ela minchol birchata v'shirata tushbachata v'nachamata da'amiran v'yalma v'imru amen. Yehei shlama rabba min shemaya v'chaim aleinu v'al kol Yisrael v'imru amen. Oseh shalom v'ramah u'yaseh shalom aleinu v'al kol Yisrael v'imru amen. May the source of peace send peace to all who mourn and comfort to all who are bereaved. And to this we all say, Amen. Shabbat Shalom. We join now in our closing song, the last couple lines of the Kaddish prayer we just shared, Oseh Shalom.